Welcome to Building Business Relationships. I'm Matt Stone, and before we officially launch, we're exploring what matters most when it comes to relationships in business. These early episodes are about testing ideas, learning from guests, and hearing what you think belongs in the conversation. So please listen in, share your thoughts, and help us shape what this ultimately becomes. Joining me today to help with this is my friend and colleague, Paul Banks. He's the founder of Javelin Content Management. He's a proud husband, dad of 2 boys, and a guy who really gets people, thanks to 15 years in retail leadership and a decade as a volunteer cop of all things. So mind your affairs, people, because he's after you. After leaving corporate life to join an AI startup, Paul found his true lane, helping businesses build trust and spark real conversations through repurposing video at scale. And I know from personal experience, he's really, really good at it. And he has a lot of other good ideas too. Paul, thanks for taking a few minutes today.
Thanks for having me along, Matt. It's a pleasure. Great to be here.
When I thought about who I wanted to talk to in this preliminary phase, pre-launch, like what are the topics that are interesting? You were in the top 5 of my list, and you've been such an incredible and generous partner in the relatively short time we've known each other, but you're just a great guy, and I'm excited to pick your brain on a couple things. Before we get into the other questions, I just want to start off with the same question I ask everybody, which is, when you look back on your life and your career, can you think of a business relationship in particular that's had a major positive impact, maybe even transformational, on your career and or your life? Who do you think of?
I think the first person that I naturally think of is the guy who broke me out of corporate retail. He jailbroke me. He hunted me down without me realizing. Who's Jimmy Horsang, who is my CEO at the startup when I left retail. I'd probably spent 7 or 8 years squandering my time in retail. I was bored, I was done, I knew there was something else out there and I couldn't find what. And Jimmy was the guy that saw in me what I now am and took a chance, took a huge leap of faith as a startup owner who didn't have a huge amount of revenue in the business. He took a gamble on me, and I'd like to think I repaid him. But without that leap of faith, I wouldn't be where I am now. So absolutely, the ability of him to see in me that I was everything that he needed and wanted in business, but also to see past what my current job title was, and to look at the qualities and the way that I dealt with things that he was throwing at me, to give me that chance. And the rest's on me, because I said yes, and I took that chance with both hands. But you've got to be given the chance to be able to prove yourself, I think.
Do you remember the moment when you realized that he was really seeing you? Do you remember that moment?
It was weird because he was pretty much the only person that appeared in my LinkedIn feed. And all he did was post ridiculous, humorous memes and GIFs and images. There was no business substance whatsoever. And I liked him for no other reason, the fact that he was the only person that was posting anything positive in my LinkedIn feed. And he messaged me one day out of the blue and just said, "Hey, would you jump on a call? I've got a great idea and I'd like to kind of run it past you." And I was like, "Yeah, okay. But I've got this big pallet of stock to put out, and it's like, I'm going to have to talk to you whilst I'm putting the stock out." He's like, yeah, that's fine. Let's do it. And I didn't even realize, I genuinely thought that he was just picking my brains at this point in time. I just thought he just wanted a bit of advice. And for me, it was something a bit different. It was, like the chance to talk with another human and help someone was fun. Like, it was different. Nobody had ever asked me to help them before, right? And I got to the end of the conversation and I'd explained my background in loss prevention and theft management and fraud analytics for the business. And I explained all my process and what I did. And he just went, "Oh, that's fantastic." And I said, well, that's great. That's my story. That's me done. And now I'm going to go and get the next pallet. And he was like, "Paul, what are you doing? You can't just give me all that and then walk away. Like, are you going to come work for me?" And I was like, are you serious? He was like, "I'm going to give you a test project. And if you nail the test project, you come in with us." And I was like, this is bizarre. But like I say, it was just the ability for someone to, we connected on a level that like I'd not felt with anybody in my previous employment. We just understood each other. And being able to take that leap of faith on someone is a huge ask when you're in that position. So, but yeah, 6 weeks later I was working for him.
Wow. I want to pull the thread on this just a little bit more before we move on to some other questions, because I wonder how much of it was conscious on your part. You know, it takes two to tango. So there was clearly something you were doing in addition to showing up. There were choices that you made. There were things that you revealed, the way you approached him, your energy. Do you ascribe him really seeing you for who you are to anything that you did in particular?
It's funny, the word neurodiversity continues to pop up in my feed, my life, and my relationships, and everything that I do. And I know for a fact that without him being diagnosed, that Jimmy is ADHD. There is no doubt about it. He laughs about it himself. He has no intentions of being diagnosed, but it's blatantly obvious. He's off the chart. It's brilliant. He's such a genius mind. And at that point in time, I had no idea that I'm also ADHD. And I know that there's a lot of kind of what we call neuro-spicy people who just get each other, who really understand each other incredibly well. And I'm very proud to be part of that club, right? Like I'm going through the assessment process to be formally diagnosed, but I know it's a given. I know I am. And I think that ability of me to hyper-focus and, to your point, bring the energy and the passion to that moment in time when called upon was really something that just ignited something within him. But then there was another point where he gave me the test project and he said, write a project brief for this theoretical project that we haven't actually created, doesn't actually exist. The next morning, he gave me that about 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and the next morning at 7 a.m, a 29-page document landed on his email desk. And he was like, oh yes, we're doing this. I'm like, yeah, I was up all night, I couldn't sleep, this is amazing, like I love the idea and I really want to do this, and oh my God, like look at these things, all this information. I think it boils down to a couple of things, is being able to connect with people who you have no other connection with, just be able to find the commonalities and the shared interests and energies, but also to be able to tell a story. And I think that is missing for so many people. We get lost in business cases and ROIs and metrics, and I'd far rather tell a story, true or otherwise, than I would listen to somebody talk about metrics. And whilst metrics are important, of course they are, you know, you can't just explain metrics to someone else and have them get it in the same way that you do. You've got to tell the story behind those numbers. You've got to bring people on the journey with you. And I think that's something I'm incredibly good at. And he saw that and knew that as an early business that didn't have a sales or marketing team at that point, I was it. Or I became it after I signed. I think he knew he'd need that, because what else does a small business have? There's no use cases, there's no case studies, there's no social proof, there's no testimonials. There's a guy on a video call telling the story of the business and himself and hoping that that's enough. And, you know, fast forward 4 years, I left them with a $25 million pipeline. So yeah, it worked.
We could just drop the mic right there, but we're not going to. Okay. I just want to take a couple minutes and talk about video content. You're helping people maximize the value of their video content and scale it and repurpose it and tell their story, but get all the juice from the squeeze of the video that they do, right? Is that a fair characterization?
That's actually an image that I use in my own marketing, is kind of that juice squasher. Like you're putting a fresh orange episode in the top, and you want to make sure you get all of that juice out of it, because otherwise you're wasting your time and energy.
Great. I guess we're using the same metaphors. So we like citrus. Why would you leave all the juice in the pulp and throw it away? Why not use the juice, the pulp, and the peel? And you kind of touched on it just now, but maybe explore this for just a minute or two. As a video content expert now, what connection is there between video content that you're helping your clients with and human relationships?
It's almost every level, right, Matt? I think more in 2025 than ever before as well, because we've got this proliferation of AI. Everything is a competition of who can prompt the best AI to create the content that sounds the most like them. We've got content at a scale which has never been seen before by most people. Anyone can become an absolute content machine in this day and age. But where video stands out from the crowd is me being able to look you in the eyes and see what you're made of without me even having to jump on a call with you. I can see whether you believe what you're talking about. I can see your energy and your passion. And I've said for the longest time, for a lot of service-based providers in business, there's this constant fear of a race to the bottom. And it's true across a lot of industries, but service providers see it the worst. If you provide the same services as person A over here and your person B over here, and the potential client knows neither of you, I just want to get the cheapest service I can get for the same value, right? But if I know you're this guy here and you believe in X, Y, and Z, and it's the same as I believe in, but this person over here is an absolute stranger, I pay extra for this guy here because I know what I'm getting. I know I align with who you are. And the ability for video to convey that in a very short time. The irony is, and the truth is, even with video, you don't even need to have somebody watch your video. Just the fact that the video is there and it's playing as somebody scrolls past is enough to increase your authority in their mind. It's all behavioral science. There's so much in behavioral science that just plays into videos. And I think it's a great way of expressing yourself. I feel really cathartic when I've recorded my latest, like whatever's my passion, whatever's really grinding my gears at that moment in time, I'm going to get on video and I'm going to talk about it. And it gets it out there. And you'd be surprised how many people resonate with exactly your viewpoint, but they've just never had the confidence or the technical knowledge to be able to get that message out there themselves. And you find your tribe with it. And I think that's really, really powerful. That's really important. Is that finding your tribe is where we all need to be. Not necessarily sandboxing yourself or putting your head in the sand, but being around people who want the same sort of things and same sort of outcomes as you and live in the same sort of expectations of each other. I think that's really important.
And to loop it back to the first story you told, and people who really see and appreciate you. I was just visualizing as you were talking about you beautifully put the connection between video and relationship building. Video is a trust accelerator.
Yeah, there's no faster way to do it.
And what an opportunity we have today when trust is so low in institutions and a lot of big companies, and we've got real trust issues across the globe. So if you are able to build trust, it's like the great differentiator. I mean, I think this is the problems we're seeing societally, politically, geopolitically, all those issues are creating a huge opportunity for those of us who are genuinely into building real relationships. I think it's a great opportunity. Let me ask you this. What's the topic about relationships that you think isn't given enough oxygen right now?
I think we've almost lost the ability to start from a position of trust. And I think that's the tall and short of where we are in 2025. Every new connection I get, every new person who comes into my network starts with 100% trust. And it's down to you whether you keep that trust or you lose it. But I will treat everybody with 100% from the start. Unfortunately, that's a contrarian view to most people these days. Most people are starting from the bottom and you've got to earn your way up bit by bit by bit. As you've said, in this day and age, I think automation and AI really help, unfortunately, really help those of us who know how to do things organically and without that automation, or augmented by that automation even, to really stand out from the crowd. But I'd send messages out to people and I introduce myself. I tell them what I create content about. And for a lot of people, the first response is, no thanks, I don't need your services. I didn't offer any services. I couldn't possibly take you on at the moment. I've got enough clients, thank you very much. But it's that almost expectation that we're about to be sold to. And I think distrust has never been at a greater level, Matt. Honestly, it's both a shame but for me, it's my I'm over the moon because it helps me stand out. Like I stand out like a sore thumb because I'm the only genuine guy in my network, you know, like, or not the only genuine guy, but there's very few of us who are going about doing things the right way. So it's painful to see other people going through that process, but also it doesn't harm my business in any way, shape or form. If anything, it helps me.
Yeah. Well, you know, around where I'm from or where I live, you'd be referred to as a mensch. I just have no compunction even, you know, recommending you to people because I know who you are as a person and it didn't take that long. I mean, it's amazing. We got to go because this is a preliminary, and I want to invite you back when we launch the official pod. I want you on the team. I want you part of our guest hosts. I want you part of our community. So I'm just throwing that out there now. You don't have to say yes on camera. But one final question, my friend. Tell us, why are you excited about the BBR show?
I think it's an awesome opportunity to shine the light on the way relationships can and should be created. I think we spend far too much time talking about the negatives and the things that are annoying us and the ways things shouldn't be done. But where's the positivity? Where's the light at the end of the tunnel? Where's the guiding light, the North Star? And I'm praying, I know you. I can't wait for the day when you launch because I know that you're going to be highlighting the very best in people and showing that there is and there are people out there. There is a good way of doing things. There are people out there doing those good things. But also to pick apart, you know, what's going wrong with that relationship building. Why is that so hard in this day and age? Because it goes beyond social media tactics. It goes beyond whether you use video or not. And I think so few people spend their time considering that and thinking about why that is, that my worry is that we just backslide into wherever we're going. We almost zombie walk into distrust is where I'm going to leave that. But I'm super excited for the BBR to launch. I think you're going to do a tremendous job. It's going to be so exciting. And I can just feel the positivity coming out of it already. So good luck with it. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Well, good luck to it, but it's also a product of my relationships, including my relationship with you. So thank you for contributing, and I know that'll continue to grow. Well, thank you for your time, Paul, and most of all, your insights and your heart and sharing. So we'll catch you on the next one.
More than welcome. We'll see you soon.
Hi, friends. If you're interested in connecting with Paul Banks, he's easy to find. Go to javelincontent.com. That's javelincontent.com. And we'll put this information in the show notes, Javelin, Javelin, content.com. You can also find him on LinkedIn, and we'll put that link also in the show notes for you if you want to connect with him. And of course, as always, thank you so much for watching this pre-launch content. We want you to contribute to what the show will ultimately become. So please let us know what you think. What do you like? What do you hope that we discuss when we launch the show next year? Give us your thoughts, your feedback, and your suggestions. Go to mattstone.co. That's mattstone.co. And you can send us a message through the contact form there. And we'll see you in the next show.